My name is Mr. Andrew, and I will be teaching Ardent Academy's coding courses for the upcoming weeks. So first I'll just be explaining why programming is so important, especially at this age, and then we'll be diving a little deeper into the details of the courses that we're going to be offering. So programming is beneficial for any child, regardless of if they want to become a professional programmer or not. Studies have shown that middle school students who have learned programming tend to perform better in math, in science, even musically. And that's because programming teaches three main life skills: problem solving, critical thinking, and creativity. So first let's talk about problem solving. I always say that programming is 50% actually coding and 50% trying to figure out what you did wrong. So students will be making mistakes, and they'll be making a lot of them. But they'll also be learning how to identify problems, how to look into code to figure out where that problem is coming from, and then coming up with a solution, whether that be by themselves or by researching online. And in the process, the students will also become more confident. They'll learn that making a mistake doesn't really matter, that no matter how many times you get knocked down, what counts is the fact that you get back up. And that's very important, especially when you start competing in high school and in college. You can't be stunted by making mistakes. Now, critical thinking can be kind of divided into two sections. So students will be learning how to apply what they've learned in their lessons to fulfilling their assignments or creating their projects. And also, students will learn how to break a problem or a task into smaller sections that are easier to tackle. And both these skills are very important when it comes to learning, which, as I'm sure you can guess, might be important for a student in middle school. Now, lastly, we really focus on creativity, because if the kids aren't having fun, then why are they even doing it? So we try to make our lessons very hands-on. Students will be learning by practicing and experimenting rather than just being taught to. And at the end of all of our courses, students will be presenting their final projects, sort of a culmination of all that they've learned in their lessons. And we try to limit the requirements for these final projects to really let the kids go wild, really code what their heart desires, whether that be a game, a calculator app, whatever. And these three life skills, problem solving, critical thinking, and creativity, can help a student kind of be a step ahead of everyone else in the pack, which is very important in this increasingly competitive world. So now we'll talk about our courses. So we'll be offering 3 courses. Each course is going to be 2 hours a day, 1 day a week, for 5 weeks, for a total of 5 lessons or 10 hours. So we'll be offering creative coding, game design, and web development. And I'll be explaining the differences between them in just 1 second. So first, let's start off with Creative Coding Studio. This is going to be a very general way to learn how to program. So if the child doesn't really know what they want to do and just kind of wants to try out coding, this would be the class for them. In the process, students will be creating their own characters, making their own comics, designing their own games, composing their own music through code. And through all those, they'll be learning fundamentals, things like loops, variables, all that good stuff. Now, we also offer Game Design Studio, very similar to Creative Coding Studio, except with a much heavier emphasis on game design. So we'll be diving really deep into creating game worlds, designing heroes, designing villains, programming game logic, things like that. The last course that we're offering is web development. Now, this class tends to be a lot more about real-world applications. The first 2 courses are used with what's called block-based programming. Think building a Lego set almost, which is very good when you're trying to learn, but not so much when you're actually trying to create something. So in the web development course, we'll be teaching students HTML and CSS, both languages that are used by professional website designers. So they'll be able to get real-world experience actually building web pages, adding in images, adding in videos. And so I would recommend that students have at least a little bit of experience with programming before taking this course. But again, all are welcome, and I'll be more than happy to fill in any blanks. So before we end, I wanted to show one of the projects that one of our students made in the game design studio. So as you can see, the student has designed all these characters herself, designed all the character movements, all the interactions, the timer. She's even added in some music. So I'll have to see if Activision, Blizzard, or Ubisoft will be able to pick this up. But even just after 5 lessons, we can see the progress that students can make and the creativity that our courses allow them. And with that, I want to thank you all for listening, and I hope to see you very, very soon.